stay away from your ex. I repeat, stay away from your ex. Now, it will surprise you to know that a lot of your exes are demons. But you might not know until you decide to move on. You might not know until the relationship you had with them has packed up and you decide to carve a different track for yourself in life. Now, some of these relationships, when you break up with someone, with your ex, or there's some exes that when you break up with them, sometimes they let you be. They just let you go like nothing happened. And then you go. And then you decide to, start all over with your life, do something new. You decide to just move on with your life. You might decide to start a business, start making money. You might decide to be successful. You might just decide to create a different niche for yourself in the financial world. And once you become so successful like that, these exes don't care. Like, even if they see you, oh, congrats, and that's it, they move on. They're not bothered about your success, your financial success, some of them. Some of them, you decide to travel out. Maybe you've been with them for a long time and the relationship does not work out and you decide to move out. Some don't care. There are so many things you might decide to do for yourself after your so-called relationship with them has packed up. And they're not bothered. But the moment you decide to settle down with a new partner, that is when your problem will arise. That is when they will bring out their claws and remember that you were with them. See, a lot of people, when I hear people say things like, my ex is my bestie, there is nothing, we don't have anything else in common, there is nothing we're sharing and all of that. I don't know where you guys get this your mentality from. As far as I'm concerned, an ex is an ex for a reason. There is nothing like a bestie ex. If the person was your bestie, as in your best friend or whatever, then why didn't you remain with that person? Why break up with that person? Only to now give your relationship, your so-called funny relationship you now have with the person a different tag, a different name, which is the bestie thing, which doesn't make sense to me. Because if you have moved away from somebody and you have moved on with your life, I don't know why you're still tagging along with the person in the past as your new best friend. Now, some of these exes don't mean well for you. They only come back to your life when they see you have decided to move on with a new woman or move on with a new man. And if you're not careful, they come with a mission, which is to kill, steal, and destroy. Yes, they come like the devil. Some will come and pretend like, they care about you, or they just, missed one or two things, good things you've had in the past. And some will come with the pretense, under the pretense that, okay, even if we're not in a relationship again, we can still be good friends. There's nothing wrong with that. We are two mature people. We are two adults. We don't have to have any amorous relationship, but we can just be friends. You understand? Nothing there. And if you're not careful, with your genuine intention or genuine mind, you might begin to think, okay, the person, anyway, there's nothing wrong in us just being friends. And you may not understand that they are coming because you have decided to move on with somebody else. They are coming to penetrate into your life to see how they will destroy this good thing you have. Mind you, some of your exes don't wish you well after you have left. Some actually wish that since you are no longer in their lives, that you will remain stagnant, that you will remain where you are, that you will just remain paralyzed until you come begging them, until you come back to them. Some actually just believe that without them in the picture of your life, you are nothing. And that when you gallivant around finish, you will still come back to them. So that is why when you decide to move on to someone else, it triggers something in them. It hurts them. It's like you have just pierced their hearts. And some can be very, very smart to want to come back to you after you have moved on under different disguises. Like I said, some will come back in the under the guise of, okay, let's just be friends. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's just be friends. That's one way they can come back to you. Another way they can come back to you is if you, for instance, had a child with that ex. Assuming you had a child with the ex, and one way or the other, the relationship did not work again. Some will want to use the children to punish you or to get back at you. Some will want to punish you in the sense that they will withhold those kids or the child from you, thinking that you will come begging to see the children or to have contact with the kids. And by so doing, by the time you see yourself begging, by the time you see yourself trying to establish contact with the children, in most cases, you can't just do it directly with the kids, especially when these kids are underaged. When they are underage, you just can't say you want to have contact with the kids. In most cases, you will have to go through the parent of the child. You have to go through the person the child is living with. Either is living with the mother or is living with the father. And this is where it becomes tricky. Now, the other parents that has the children might want to use the kids to penetrate your life. Sometimes they could say things like, okay, I want you to come over to the house and see them. And then you are going alone to see your kids in the house. Fine. Do you know if that other parent, Jasmine, your ex, in the house there is actually waiting for you to come over? And then they intentionally seduce you. And then because you just genuinely did not expect that, you fall into a trap, which is a sexual picture. And then maybe your pictures might be taken, or there might be a proof that something funny happened between you and your ex. And the moment you leave there, your ex decides to use that evidence against you to ruin your current relationship. I've heard stories where the parents withholding the children actually asked their ex to come over to the hotel, to the reception. You know, she wanted a place where it's like a neutral place. Everybody will be there, so there will be nothing funny happening, because she claimed that this man was actually aggressive, violent kind of person. So she did not want to stay in a place where nobody will see them. She wanted like an open place, you know, in case anything happens, in case the man decides to attack her. So she chose a hotel reception. The man was a bit hesitant about the choice of location, but then again, because he was very, he really wanted to see his kids. He was very willing to see his children. He decided to go to the hotel. On getting to the reception, the woman came out to receive him. And he was like, okay, so where are the kids? She said, I didn't bring them downstairs. They are upstairs. They're in the room. They are sleeping. So she took the man to the room. Getting to the room, she locked the door and quickly undressed. Immediately she got into the room, there was someone else in the room that was waiting for her. It was a planned walk. The moment she undressed, she held onto the man. And the other person that was in the room with her took pictures immediately. Took pictures, did some video recordings. The man was like, what's happening here? And when they finished with what they were doing, she opened the door and asked the man to get out. The man said, I came to see my children. This is not what I am here for. She told the man to leave the room. And because the man did not want to leave, he was still insisting on seeing his children. She started raising alarm. And that was when people gathered and they told the man, leave the room, leave the room. And that was when the man left the room. But by this time, she had already gotten the evidence she needed to destroy the man's recent relationship. The good thing about this man's case is that immediately he went home, he told his wife, he told his new wife what happened. Because the new wife understood that yes, he wanted to establish contact with his children all this while. She was not really, she was okay with it. So when he opened up and told the woman what went down at the hotel, she understood. So the moment his ex decided to publish videos and pictures of what happened in the hotel room, she was doing it to blackmail the man and also to get back at his relationship. It didn't work. Why? Because the new wife now knew about it and she stood solidly behind her husband. Now, let's flip this case over. Assuming it was a case whereby the new wife didn't know where the husband went to. Or rather, the husband didn't tell the wife where he went to. Or he didn't tell the wife what transpired that day. This could have been a shock to the wife. And this is enough to destroy any relationship or any marriage. This is one kind of trap exes set for you when you least expect. Like I said, a lot of these exes are not bothered about whether you become financially comfortable later. They're not bothered about whether you start looking good later. They're not really bothered about. The only thing that actually gets them very, 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 very awake is when you decide to replace them in your lives. They just believe that no matter how long they've left you, you can't replace them. Like, you can't see somebody that will match up to them. They just believe you will just be there. You know, some of them actually think that, oh, because they're not in the picture, you can't succeed, you can't move on, you can't grow, you can't be happy, you can't establish, you can't be fruitful. So the moment you get that person that will come and take over their position in your life, you become a target of attack. You become a target of hatred. You become a target of pull down. You know, this pull down syndrome. They just begin to look for how to, to hatch it on you. The same thing goes to women. If you're a woman and you have an ex, and the man decides that, okay, you guys are done for any reason whatsoever, and you decide to move on, and then you decide you now want to have a new relationship, do not for any reason entertain these exes. Is it his calls, phone calls, text messages, social media appearances, or whatever? If you have him anywhere, block him. Because in most cases, the way these exes operate after they've left your life, when they're trying to come back, like if they see that, oh, there is something good happening in your life, oh, you're in a new relationship, or you are happy. Once they see you are happy, their comeback plan is always very smooth. In some ways, you might not even be able to suspect that this is their intention. Sometimes you might not even be able to suspect that, this person is coming back to finish what he has started. He's coming back to ruin me. You might not suspect that, because they can be very smooth. They come gently. They could just come into your DM. Oh, hello, how you doing? Long time. I just passing through. I just said I should know how you're checking for old time's sake. Bye. That's it. They just drop a short message, and that alone could just make you be like, oh wow, okay. It's a very innocent message. There's nothing. There is no sexual undertone, or there's nothing funny about it, and you decide to reply. You might reply. He won't reply immediately. He will just put you in suspense. This suspense is to make you long for his response. And then you're waiting. He has not replied. But hasn't he seen it? Hasn't he seen it? And then maybe after a day or two, he decides to reply. Oh, okay. I hope you're okay. How is life dealing with you now? How are you coping? Hope all is well. Blah, 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 blah. And immediately you see the response. You're like, oh my God, he has replied. And then you are tempted to reply. And before you know it, this back and forth, back and forth. And then before you know it, if you're not careful, you might even say, okay, let's communicate more often. You can call me at so time, or you can text me at this time. You are giving him the time that you think it will be suitable for you to speak or you communicate, because your present man is in your relationship or your marriage is not around. And then before you know it, you are giving loopholes for this man to still penetrate your life. The moment he has any information about you, whether from the past or from the present, that is not appealing to the eyes, he is going to flood your life with it. And you know what that is? It's going to destroy you. Some of these exes are not coming back because they love you. Some of these exes don't come back because they miss you. Some of them don't even come back because they mean well for you. A lot of your exes come back because they want to destroy that thing that you have started. How dare you move on? Like, how dare you? How dare you get a life without me? How dare you succeed without me? How dare you be happy? Who is that man that can take my place in your life? Who is that woman that can actually make you feel young again? How dare? Like, the question in their mind is, no, you can't do it without me. So you see the rage when it comes to you moving on without them. It is not always a funny issue. And that's why you should stay away from your exes. Generally speaking, I think once someone is your ex, especially if you have moved on, once you have moved on, maybe you are in a new relationship that is a serious one, or once you are married, stay away from that ex. It doesn't matter how good that person was in your past relationship. It doesn't matter how much of an angel that ex was. If that person was so fantastic, why didn't you settle down with him or her? Stay away from your ex. Don't destroy your current relationship, your current marriage because of an ex. Now, I have a friend who fell prey into one of these exes issue. She was dating a guy and she actually has a child for this guy. And then after a while, the relationship did not work again. So this guy had to travel back home. While he was back home, this girl met someone else. She lives in America. So she met someone else there and they were dating. And this guy that came to her was so serious about the relationship and wanted them to move it forward. They were already discussing marriage, they were already planning wedding things and all of that. And all of a sudden, the first one that disappeared from nowhere just came back. Came back to her and was already professing love. I missed you. Whatever happened in the past, it happened because I was young. It's all about youthful exuberance. I'm matured now. I can handle things well. I can handle relationships and all of that and blah, blah, blah. And he was able to sugarcoat my friend and then won her heart over again. And even invited her out for a party. And this, my friend, secretly, sneaked out to go to the party with this guy. Now, they went to a party. It was an open place. Nothing really happened there. But there are people at the party that actually know my friend. So when she got to the party, she was not comfortable at all. She wasn't, because there were people that knew her with her present man. So after a while, of course, you know how words fly. The new man was actually informed what happened. And that was it. And when this new man heard that, oh, you actually hung out with your ex, he broke up with her. Now, after breaking up with her, she decided to go back to that ex. She needed a shoulder to cry on. She needed someone to talk to. She needed to see if, okay, since this one has not, did not work, maybe we can continue from where we stopped. Now that you're sounding sober, now that you've come to your senses, maybe we can just take it up from here. And the man made it clear to her. The ex made it clear to her. Let's see. Go and sort out your issue with your man. No. I'm not interested. Whatever happened in the past has happened. Let us just put it aside. I'm not interested. I'm not ready to move on with you. And that was that. So after coming to destroy what she already had, now he has fulfilled his mission. He left her. So now who lost? She. Because she lost the new boyfriend and she lost the old one. In fact, the new boyfriend was not a boyfriend. He was a fiancé because she was already engaged and they were getting married. She lost him and lost the ex. So what am I trying to say? Keep your exes aside, especially when you have moved on. Leave all that notion of it doesn't matter, we can still be friends. No, sometimes it does. Some exes don't come with good intentions. You have to be wise.